Alright, if you're watching this video, you've likely got a screen with window screen plunger latches like this one that have broken. These little pins, as I may also refer to them, hold the screen in the window, and there's usually a hole in the windowsill that the plunger locks into. Over time, because these latches are plastic and or cheaply made, the cap typically breaks off first, followed by the spring wearing out or the plunger wearing down. As a quick aside and to rant, just want to mention that whoever invented the screen held into a window with a plunger latch is not my favorite person. If you've ever had to install screens with these mechanisms, you know that you have to stick the entire screen out the window, then bring it back to the sill while holding in two of these latches, and once you get it into the window frame, you release the latches and the plungers are supposed to lock the screen in place. However, what typically happens is you stick the screen out the window, you're bringing it back while grasping the tension latches, you bobble the screen in what feels like slow motion, and you watch it tumble 3 floors down onto your shrubs, in which case you find yourself in the basement repairing the screen. Anyway, let's replace this plunger latch. Now that the morning coffee's worn off, the tools we're going to be using today are a drill bits, and the window screen latches, which I may also refer to as window screen pins. The 16-pound sledgehammer, definitely not required for installation, but I always like to have it on hand in case things want to be broken. These window screen latches came from the local Home Depot. You can get them at your local hardware store, and your pins may look slightly different, but the functionality and installation will be very similar, if not the same. Instructions are on the back of the package, but you may not need to read them since I'm showing you how to do this. And the window screen latch itself consists of the plunger here on the end, the spring which goes on the shaft of the plunger, and the cap or top hat. Let's get started. The back of the package will tell you the screen frame size the latches fit into, and also the size of the hole, the interior and exterior holes required to fit the latches. If you've been fortunate enough to find the exact match of your latch, then you won't need to do any drilling to resize the holes. However, if you have older screens like I do, you'll likely have to use a similar latch, but you'll need to resize the holes. Choosing a latch, make sure you get the right length, and most importantly, make sure the plunger will fit into the hole of the windows so the screen properly locks in. If you get a plunger that's too large, the screen won't properly lock in and you'll find it down in the yard at some point. For the pins that I'm using, the interior hole needs to be 1/8 of an inch, and the exterior hole needs to be 7 3/4. On the package, the manufacturer typically tries to sell you a drill bit that can do stepped holes. A bit that does stepped holes would have 7/32 on the back end and 1/8 on the front. So when you drill the screen from the back, you would have a 1/8 hole on the inside of the screen and a 7/32 on the outside. Since I don't have a step bit, I'm going to use 2 separate drill bits to size the holes. So starting with the smaller bit, which is 1/8, and beginning on the outside of the screen, I'm going to drill all the way through and as straight as possible, which is important. I'm drilling sideways, which isn't quite so easy, but should be all right. There we go. Cool. Okay, so that's the 1/8 inch. Now I'm going to change the bit to 7/32, lock that in here. And I'm going to drill starting on the outside of the frame, but not push all the way through. You only want to penetrate the outside of the frame. Again, don't go all the way through, just through the exterior side. And now that we have the holes drilled, we're going to insert the screen latch. So you're going to take your plunger and you're going to take a spring, and you slide the spring onto the shaft of the plunger, just like this. And then you're going to insert it into the exterior side of the frame, which is the larger hole. And give that a push. And make sure that the plunger is straight and goes in and out smoothly. That's important. And now we just need to attach the top hat or the cap like this. And the top hat just clicks on. Just give it a push like this. Give it a good push. And then make sure it goes back and forth. The plunger goes back and forth smoothly. And when you put the screen in the window, you let go of the latch and the plunger goes into the hole in the windowsill and the screen is locked in. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.